The following podcast contains many spoilers for the TV show Mad Men. Please watch at your own... listen. God damn it. Fuck. Mad Do you remember the sun in the sky? Mad Men. That's great. Welcome, everyone, for a new podcast called Mad About Mad Men. Not to be confused with our other podcast, Mad About You Men, which is about the show Mad About You, based on me and Yuri. We discuss it. Not to also be confused about Mad About You's Men, which is our gangster feminist podcast, where we talk about feminism in like a gangster accent. Also not to be confused with Not About How Men and Women Are Portrayed Unequally in the Media, which is our actual feminist podcast.
Similar themes.
Just to clear that up.
Yeah.
So here we go. My name is Coconut Buyer, your host. And to my right...
I am Yuri the Canadian.
No one will know that he's actually to my left. And to my actual right...
Laura, they call me Laura the intern, but it doesn't mean I don't speak out of turn. It's my new catchphrase.
That's great. You should do that every time. So we are here to discuss the pilot episode of Mad Men called Smoke Gets in Your Eyes.
That's right. The title comes from 1959's classic pop hit Smoke Gets in Your Eyes by the Platters, perhaps most memorable, at least for me, from the American Graffiti soundtrack. Having grown up listening to music like this, the name of the title automatically induces me into this hazy, dreamy state every time I watch the episode. Right. Every time I've seen this episode, yeah.
I'm not familiar with the Platters.
Oh, they were great.
They were great. They were reliving your 60s childhood.
But this show really, like, adulterers, alcoholics, womenizers, chain smokers, sexists, racists, all in the pursuit of the American dream that they created themselves. And in a sense, these characters, they're chasing their own dreams. And that's what I think the show's all about.
Wait, you talking about Doug?
No, Mad Men.
Oh.
Did I say Doug?
No.
Oh.
We were joking.
That's
I was
just
joking.
the womanizers and the racists.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in Doug. That's the last one mentioned, Doug.
Well, Skeeter.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll preface. I'm not a big Mad Men fan. This is the first episode I actually watched of Mad Men. Actually, I think I watched another one, but that was out of context, like in a later season.
Is that the one with when Don goes, Peggy, coffee?
No, he does that in every episode.
Yeah.
Goes, Peggy, coffee.
Peggy, bring me some cigarettes. Peggy, come hit my pitch.
Peggy, come into my room, please.
Peggy, come into my office and stand here.
Peggy.
Sean Connery version.
No. Sean Connery's more like,
Sean
Connery.
Peggy.
No, it is the keys for God's sakes.
Sean Connery.
Raws are shaken, not stirred.
Peggy, bring me lobster.
No, Peggy. Peggy, I've been wondering, where are my cigarettes?
Peggy, do not let Pete Campbell come into my office.
Peggy, where's Bruce Campbell? Why is he in my office?
Right.
I'm so really sorry, Mr. Draper. That was a good Peggy.
Yeah, that was.
I'm really sorry, Mr. Draper. Yeah. I won't do it again.
That's what she says in the episode.
I'm sorry.
Poor Peggy.
Poor Peggy.
Okay.
So, why don't we get to the episode proper?
Well, like, Mad Men, it opens up, first shot, well, not first shot, but you get the superimposed text, Mad Men, quote-unquote, a term coined in the late 1950s to describe the advertising executives of Madison Avenue, part of New York City, and they coined it, unquote.
I gotta say, really, come on, beating us over the head with Mad Men means, come on.
Had you known that definition already?
Well, no, but...
Did you want to know? Would you have rather not know?
I just thought I was about to guys who are angry.
When I first saw the title of the show back in like 2007 when it started, like I hadn't seen the show, but I read a review and I read that it was getting really good reviews, and
Uh-huh.
John Hamm was supposed to be amazing. And I thought, so John Hamm, he plays this guy in a show called Mad Men.
Yeah.
I pictured it was going to be like about like a crazy mobster guy that goes around like killing people or something.
Yeah,
That's just my
yeah.
immediate, just
Yeah.
off the top of my head. Oh, it's probably like
Oh,
a
yeah.
show like that.
I can
It
see
turns
that.
out it's about advertising in
Advertising.
1960.
Well, there's
Way
some
off.
pretty wild stuff.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
some pretty angry men in this.
Very
Wait.
surreal moments. too.
Guys, gonna blow your mind here.
Okay.
Take the word. Okay, get everyone at home. Write the word Mad Men on a piece of paper.
Cross out man.
Cover up the M.
Admin. I don't.
Oh,
What are you driving
shit.
at? What are you driving at?
They're advertising
I don't-
people, and they're men.
On
And
Madison
you're
Avenue.
trying to say
And
that
they're
ad is
mad.
short for advertising?
No, you cover up the M and it's ad men.
It's
You're
mad.
crazy,
yeah.
man.
Ah,
You're losing
no,
it.
guys. No, I think I'm on to something here. Okay.
I have to say though, like my little rant here, this
Sure.
this is a masterpiece hour of dramatic television.
Wow.
It is.
Masterpiece?
Masterpiece. It really is. I don't think they're like this
What
is
about the Glee finale?
as far as that's not even really drama, but as far as pilots,
Well, certain some Emmy voters it is.
no, I think it's still in the comedy.
Is it in the
category.
comedy
Yeah,
category?
they made like
It's
a
an
few
hour.
exceptions.
I think like
I know.
Golden Globe. I think Golden Globes it's drama and like I think something else.
No,
Isn't it?
no,
am I
it's
wrong?
always
always
in
musical
drama?
and comedy. It's always musical comedy.
That's
Glee,
bullshit.
except they
That's
made
bullshit.
changes to the Emmy Awards this year, where all hour-long shows have to be drama, except for 3 shows which they made exceptions for. One was Glee, one was
What?
Shameless, and one was Jane's the New Virgin.
That's okay.
Jane the Virgin?
Jane the Virgin.
I gotta
Jane the New
say
New
that
girl?
the New
New
Virgin.
Virgin?
Jane the New Virgin.
The New Virgin.
I think that's bullshit.
But categorization.
Yeah, but that's like
That's
the whole
confusing.
time thing. Like that's complete bullshit.
Yeah.
It makes, I mean, to a certain extent.
Why can't you just watch the
The
show?
whole thing though is bullshit. The whole idea of categorizing shows, like some shows
Right.
are not just can't be categorized purely into drama or purely into comedy.
Right.
Like you have to figure.
But I
Because they
think
have both.
They were like
Yeah.
going by like trying to weigh it, I guess. They weighed all these different shows, and for some reason those shows were deemed comedy, whereas Orange is the New Black is a drama now. And it's killing its
Seems
Emmy
arbitrary.
chances.
I kind of get it because like they
Yeah.
want to. There's too many shows on television. They want to split it up a little bit.
It is
based
all
on like
arbitrary,
similar
though.
genre. Well, it's hard to like compare like a show like The Office to Mad Men or something.
Whereas
Right.
what they didn't do was there's a lot of half-hour shows that are more dramatic, like
Mhm.
Louie or maybe House of
Right.
Lies.
Right.
But none of those shows were pushed into drama.
Yeah.
Right.
But there were shows that were comical pushed into drama. So
They really got to get like a guy for like a ticker, and every episode that's submitted, he ticks the amount of jokes and the amount of dramatic moments.
Oh yeah, how much you laughed. Or how
And
much
like
you cried,
there needs
yeah.
to be like a scientific. That's the only way to solve
This
this
is
I
true.
think that's what they did.
joke
Anyways,
joke to drama ratio.
even still though, like the masterpiece thing of this episode,
Mhm.
even still since its air date in July of 2007, I feel like it's original, and every scene feels like a breath of fresh air, despite like all the cigarette smoke. And I think that what gives it a great originality is the loose plot structure, which seems to focus more on character than story, and that it's not afraid to be darkly satirical about the age that really isn't that far off from our own. It's
Mhm.
very darkly satirical, and it's so disturbing because a lot of it's very true.
Mhm.
And we should also mention too, before we forget, that this was created by Matthew Weiner, who also wrote for The Sopranos,
Oh
the showrunner of this Mad Men.
Huh.
Did you know that?
no,
Really?
am I a bad person?
No. Just
Good thing we didn't have to send our future selves.
Oh.
Not to mention the brilliant lead performances from particularly John Hamm as the mysterious Don Draper, and Elizabeth Moss as his new secretary, Peggy Olson.
Peggy Olson.
These characters could have easily been portrayed as archetypes: the cold businessman in a suit, the obedient secretary without an opinion. But instead, we end up getting characters who seem real, with real layered human thoughts, which is not so much revealed through their dialogue, which it's very sparse actually, but through their faces and their emotions that they can convey in certain contexts. So
and their actions and their stories.
yeah, and again, the stories aren't as gripping, I don't think, as the characters themselves and how they act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that's kind of what. Honestly, I wasn't very intrigued. I wasn't really pulled in by this pilot. to be honest. And I think maybe because like the story is kind of.
I don't think I was originally pulled in by the pilot.
Like everything you said about the characters, you're absolutely right on money about that. But like, I just wasn't. Besides them, I wasn't really pulled in.
I always find it surprising to hear that people weren't initially pulled in by the show, just purely in terms of the aesthetic, like how you weren't just interested to watch it because it looks so good.
It does look good.
Yeah.
But like, I
guess I can only go so far.
I wasn't invested in any of the characters at this point. And obviously, it's a TV show; they'll have time to do that. But like, it didn't grip me as something like Breaking Bad did when I watched its first episode.
Well, that's like a heavy.
That was very story heavy.
Very plot heavy. Very serialized.
Yeah.
I mean, Mad Men's serialized, but it doesn't need to be serialized. You could easily watch any episode pretty much, and at any point.
Well, you would appreciate it in a different way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like following Dawn is rewarding.
It is. Yeah. Dawn is actually probably Peggy too to a certain extent, but the revelations of that character, very profound stuff.
So you weren't gripped by this first episode upon rewatching it, or was that the first time you ever watched?
I didn't have a chance to rewatch it, unfortunately.
Nothing about Dawn and Rachel. Relationship.
Which one's Rachel?
We'll get to that. But
Mencken, the Jewish department store owner.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I was very surprised at the end of the episode when
it's
revealed that he
Hush
had
up!
What?
Should we wait? Oh.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay.
One thing at a time. All right.
He reveals he's a werewolf.
Ooh, Peggy.
Peggy.
That was crazy.
And coming from
where's my silver bullets?
Peggy, throw away the silver bullets. And I like intern Laura. You've seen the entire show.
Yes.
I've seen the entire show. You haven't seen.
I watched 2 episodes.
Okay, I think that we should just make that clear.
No, we'd already made that clear.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Pay attention.
We just want to shove it down everyone's throat that Richard's terrible at watching Mad Men.
I'm sorry, guys.
But
It's not an animated cartoon in the 90s. I don't know what to do.
One more thing on Don's character is that there's a parallel between Don's past and the nature of his job. Like they're very hand in hand. And who better to create a consumer world of lies than a man whose life lives by one?
This is true.
So the episode opens. Don is working on a pitch to secure Lucky Strike cigarettes for his firm, Sterling & Cooper, the prestigious Sterling & Cooper.
Right.
The first scene shows Don sitting in a bar asking the African-American server that he has about his own personal
You don't know he's American.
No, he
you don't know he's
We do, because he says that he served in the army.
That's right. Shut up.
That's how he started smoking cigarettes. Pay attention.
Sorry, I was being PC.
So, and Don ends up standing up for the waiter against the waiter's racist superior. I think this is this is Don's character wrapped up perfectly because yes, he is as much as an ignorant person to the changes in the ways that minorities were treated, and the changes that would occur in the years following, like social rights and all that. But Don is not needlessly cruel, I think is one thing to remember. Yes, he can fall into that kind of habit, but he was never needlessly cruel. What is most important to Don is the perfect lie, whether that pertains to his life or his job. So.
Yeah. Well, we should just make it clear the reason that the African American's boss is racist is because he says he assumes that the waiter's bothering Don.
Yeah.
And then Don says no, he's not bothering.
Don started the conversation.
Yeah. That being said, he's not standing up for him because he sees the air of like the boss's ways. I think it's just that everyone to Don is a tool to market, as a tool to come up with a perfect lie.
Yeah, everyone's a consumer.
I
can see that. He's a customer.
That's above,
And talk about the ultimate lie, smoking. I mean, like this idea that we smoke and we feel good, and we do, but it's really killing us. And this whole episode's all about, whether or not you want to accept that or not. Don sees all these people in the bar smoking their cigarettes. They're happy. They're having a great time. Meanwhile, this health study has just been released that cigarettes are bad for you. So Don's struggling with the pitch amidst the trade commissions cracking down on the ads. Health claims due to the recent study declaring cigarette smoking deadly. So Don visits, after he leaves the bar, he visits a woman at her apartment. They have sex. you don't really know much about the nature of the relationship. Yeah. But he talks about getting married, and she's not into it. She's more, I guess, of an early 60s free spirit type by the looks of things.
Her job is writing greeting cards. She
Yeah.
has her own job.
Yeah.
She's a creative person herself.
Right. Yes, that's I didn't think about that. It's true.
I think that's why he finds her appealing.
And she's mysterious like he is.
Mm-hmm.
And Dawn is very mysterious. And then after that, we meet Peggy Olsen as she enters the very first scene we see her. She's entering the elevator, and Mad Men's known for all these elevator scenes. They're going up to the ad agency's office, and she meets some of the Mad Men who are reoccurring characters on the show, and they make inappropriate sexual comments towards her. And like I said, the elevator scenes in this show often feature themes like this, or it's always, there's been other instances in other episodes where people are trapped in this elevator and they can't get out. I mean, like going from floor to floor. Right. And that's when another kind of like a metaphor of like women trapped in society of sexism. Well, there's all these scenes where just all this inappropriate shit that women had to put up with, right?
I like that they don't they don't skirt around it.
Yeah, no, and it's
not to I know, I caught it.
No, yeah,
skirt around it. Well, they said stuff about like Peggy's skirt or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember what.
Skirt at work,
Yeah, well, they don't skirt around it, but they portrayed, I think, pretty accurately. It's just such like banal sexism, and like no one says anything. And well, I guess you'll probably get to this, but like when Peggy first shows up and Joan's taking her on a tour of the office, Joan and Peggy are like very different types of women, which is cool to see. But Joan is sort of saying to her, you know, this is your place here. You're pretty. You're here to serve. You're basically a mother. And, you know, at the end of the day today, go home and put a paper bag on your head and look in the mirror and really, like, evaluate.
Get naked.
And really evaluate your flaws. And I remember watching that episode when it first aired. My mind was blown by the idea of doing that. But Peggy takes it so diminutively and just seems not at all surprised.
Yeah.
Because, like, they're both very aware that that's their place there. And there's no qualms because there's nothing that you could really do about it at that point. That was a point where women, the only jobs they had were secretaries, and they were going to be secretaries to meet men.
Yeah.
To get married.
Joan says she, like, supports girls to marry out of work and get a house in the country.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, you can marry out of this. And
exactly. That's why she's there.
So, like, that's the ideal in Joan's world. And Peggy, she's like, her fate has not been decided. She might be like that. She might not be like that. We don't know. Like, she's kind of, like, she's come so far throughout the course of the series, right?
Oh, yes.
But yeah, and Joan is like a great character as well, and she changes a lot too, actually. We meet Pete Campbell, who's kind of like the next in line. Who's like Dawn, in terms of who the show focuses on. Dawn, Peggy, Pete. He's this overly idealistic 26-year-old madman asshole. As he talks to his fiance on the phone, and again, very satirically, he tells her, of course I love you. I gave up my life to be with you, didn't I? And
that's amazing.
What a dick.
Yeah, he's such a
dick. And as he's on the phone with her, his cronies are all in the room snickering because they're going to go to a titty bar after.
Yeah.
Titty bar.
And he just can't handle how hilarious it is that he's talking to his loving wife, or future wife.
Irony.
But meanwhile, they're going to go see other women's tits.
Yeah.
That idiot.
Yeah, idiot wife of yours, Campbell. Have a cigarette. Pete is one of the madmen who doesn't smoke, though, which is noteworthy. He doesn't smoke.
One of the few.
And he's the most evilest. Or maybe he's not evil, but he's very... He's almost like... He's just so fucking... Childish. Yeah. He's like a cartoon character sometimes.
He's the young guy, right? Is he the young guy?
Yeah, he's the young guy.
He's 26, right?
26, right. And he always reminds me of, like, that kid who does the hot dog commercials these days, and he was in Moonrise Kingdom.
Days?
that
Anyways...
kid.
That kid, you might remember him. He looks just like him. But Pete, he's very ideal, and he thinks that life is just like a howdy-doody, like, trip, you know? Like,
right.
Well, he grew up, like, he was one of the wealthier characters, I think, growing up. And he grew up in, like, a very, like, Leave It to Beaver kind of environment. Right.
Yeah, and his parents have, like, a large fortune, and they have a lot of influence in the city. And that's kind of, I guess you're supposed to assume that's how he got this job. So he says he says this line to his wife, though, about, like, I gave up my life to be with you, didn't I? In this very endearing way, which makes it hilarious. Like, the show is pretty funny with all these, just how ridiculous they'll take the sexism and stuff like that. Pete is brilliantly casted with Vincent Kartheiser. Kartheiser. He's great. He really is great in that show. A very animate character. And he's just very hungry for self-reliance. And he looks up to Dawn as kind of a role model. And they all kiss Dawn's ass.
Like in the actual show?
Yeah. And Dawn's like, guys, come in, kiss my ass.
This is episode 2? Guys, come in. There's a butt buffet.
And in line, they're all like, wee!
Yeah!
So excited for their turn in line.
No, there's that hilarious scene in this when Pete's like kissing Dawn's ass so hard.
He just like,
and Dawn's like, whoa, Pete, slow down. I don't want to wake up pregnant.
Yeah.
Get the tongue out.
And then Pete says, fuck you, but he says it like almost a whisper. And it like the show drops the F-bomb like not that often. So when they do, it's kind of a big
powerful.
Thing. Yeah.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we meet Joan. Finally, we meet Roger Sterling.
Roger.
The charming and charismatic partner at Sterling and Cooper.
You gotta sing everything when you talk about Roger.
He is almost singing always.
He is like a song and dance man.
Yeah. Right.
Well, not really, but he could be. And he's sort of Dawn's best friend.
Like a Tony Bennett.
Yeah.
Tony Bennett.
The
American song.
Tony Bennett. I think that the music that I did, it's gonna be like Mozart in a few years.
She goes to dinner, but doesn't eat bread.
That's Roger.
Right.
Who's the guy who plays Roger?
His name. Oh, what's his name? He's great on it.
I always forget.
Shit.
Stanley. Michael Slattery.
Michael Slattery. Yes.
Michael
Stanley
Slattery. Or maybe it's definitely Slattery or Slattery. Maybe Slattery. But he was
going to be cast as Don, or I think he auditioned for Don.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, thank God he wasn't cast.
I know, right? He's so perfect as that character.
Roger.
And John's so perfect.
John Hamm would not have a career if that didn't happen.
This is true.
And Slattery, he's actually directed a few episodes.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
So that's cool. And Don, you see that part of his mystique, he has a purple heart from the army.
Oh.
And he takes it out briefly.
He takes out his heart?
He just rips it out of his chest.
Jesus.
And it's purple. And he's like, fuck, I need to quit smoking.
And he puts it back in?
Yeah. Well, he's
Don Draper.
It's the first episode, man.
Holy God.
What can't he do?
And then Sal, the ad graphic artist.
Right. Who's gay?
A closet gay.
Deeply closeted.
That is like not even subtle.
Oh my God, I know. That is something that's actually, it's a little too not subtle.
Yeah, it just like he draws a picture of like a man like shirtless, like sunbathing or whatever, and then for the ad, and then Don's like, oh, you should add a woman in there, and he's like, yeah.
He's like, oh, I can put a woman in there. Yeah. I love my job.
A woman of big tits, right?
Like what makes him like. Makes it so awkward is how hard he tries.
Yeah.
I don't think that the character, having seen further episodes, I don't think it was like the thing where he's trying to hide from other people that he's gay. But it's right up the ad man alley of like living a life that's a lie. His character was denying himself of that as well. He never wanted to admit it.
Well, there's a perfect, like when they're talking about the research that the German woman does, like that we all have a death wish, like the Freudian death wish, that we all behave in one way, but really we all wish a different thing. We want to die.
For the cigarette study.
For the cigarette research.
Yeah.
Like Sal says so explicitly, he's like, You mean to say that we'd be living one way, but we'd want to be doing another?
Oh,
that makes no sense.
Yes, that's exactly what he says.
So
and
over the top. It's right after it's just been so clearly revealed that he's gay.
And doesn't later at the titty bar, he's like, what does he do?
He says, this one girl says, I just love this place. It's just full of men. Or she says, I love this place so much. It's dark and fun and lights and there's men everywhere. So many men. And he goes, I know what you mean.
He writes on a napkin, I'm gay, and he puts it on his forehead.
Yeah, he's like, please ask me if I'm gay.
Or he says, when they're talking in this scene when we first meet Sal, he's asking Don if he's going to go to Pete's bachelor party, and Don has no interest in like hanging out with these fools.
Right.
And he says no, and Sal's like, oh, I understand. I mean, if a girl's gonna throw her stuff in my
Right,
face,
oh god.
I want to be alone so I can do something
Like,
about
let's
it.
do something about it.
God. It's so
Isn't
like,
it sad though that his overcompensation for being gay is to just be like such a misogynist?
Yes!
It's like
It's
the
all-
only way, I guess, at the time.
And it's
but-
just like
Yeah.
it's just like Don, how he is like trying to be just like everybody else, but I truly don't think he believes in like the inappropriate behavior. And at times we
Yeah.
see that poking through. Like there's another episode later where he's in an elevator scene and there's two guys and they're being sexist and it's just Don and these two guys.
Yeah.
And then a woman from another floor gets on and the guys continue with it and Don like gets angry, like really angry,
Yeah.
and tells the guy to take his hat off and he won't. So Don takes his hat off
Yeah.
and gives it to him. So Don has, but he's hiding too. And
Yeah, but I think, sorry, really quick. Don's also like these other men in the way that they're sexist. It's sort of just like an ideological product of the times.
Mhm.
Don wants to be above that and wants to be more progressive, but Don's like mistreating of women it's not an ideological thing. It's just like it's pathological,
Yeah.
like the way that he womanizes and the way that he
I agree, yeah.
like has the sexual situations he finds himself in that are like unsavory.
Mhm.
It's just like it's a pathological thing. Like it's not ideological. Anything on?
selling cigarettes to people who love danger. That's what they're trying
Is it-
to. Well, that was what the
Oh.
study was saying. That from the woman who comes in
right.
and gives them the research study, and that's what they don't want to do. So Don's struggling. Like, how am I going to throw this pitch?
Oh, actually, I think when the woman presents him with that research, he says something like, "I'm not going to take advice from a woman." Did I make
No, I
that
think
up?
that's from later with Rachel.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe
Ra-
he does. Does he say that?
Oh no, you're right. It's with Rachel. You're right.
Yeah. So he takes the research study that she gives him about the cigarettes and cancer, the link, and throws it in his garbage. And then Don has a drink, passes out, and he's woken up by Peggy. The first time they meet each other,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah. Classic moment.
yeah.
What was the framing in that moment?
What do you mean?
Like, how's the shot done?
It was-
Like don't you see her?
Probably like one of those
Who do you
things
see
where
first?
it starts blurry and comes into like
Yeah.
Peggy's face looking down on Don, and he
Like an
looks up.
angel, like a
Yeah.
motherly angel
Right,
from above. Yeah.
right.
Is that symbolic of the relationship moving forward?
Maybe it isn't. I don't know. Maybe she just watch a show.
Spoilers.
I'm not gonna watch a fucking 72 hours of.
Oh, you're dumb. I'm so
Television.
jealous of you that you have an entire series
Me
of Mad
too.
Men ahead of you that you
Yeah.
can watch.
So Don meets Peggy for the first time, and but not much happens. He's like, "Who are you, Peggy?" And Peggy, but then she meets Peggy meets Pete. Pete meets Peggy, and he treats her like shit.
Mhm.
And Don apologizes for
Yeah.
apologizes for Pete's bad behavior, and then he warns Pete of not being an asshole his entire life, or else he'll end up a middle-level man, bald, with no friends. Nobody will like him.
Oh.
Which
Well,
It happens.
you have to watch the show.
It happens, right? Come on.
There was always a
Come
lot
on.
of speculation that Pete, like from the first
Pete?
season on, everybody thought Pete was eventually going to. Everybody suspected he was eventually going to kill himself.
I wrote that down here. The guy kills himself because I didn't catch his name.
the guy kills himself.
Yeah, I wrote that down here.
Who
Maybe.
tried to kill himself?
Pete, I
You
guess.
thought- You read
Oh,
that on
I
Pete?
thought, yeah. Well, somebody says, like, you're going to die. Doesn't somebody say that to him?
Maybe.
Whatever. Anyways.
Don and Roger, they have a meeting with Rachel Menken,
Oh, Rachel
a
Menken.
female Jewish heiress to her father's successful New York department store.
My favorite kind of heiress to a father's successful New Yorker store.
Favorite flavor?
Yeah.
They do a funny thing where they want to make the Jews feel welcome, so they're like, "Do we have any Jewish people on staff?"
yeah. That's
and
great.
then they're like, "I don't think so. What about that guy who like sells coffee in the third floor or something, or like does the mail?"
What about Sal? He's Italian.
Yeah. So they have the meeting, and then Don goes to introduce himself to what he thinks is the head of the department store.
Mhm.
And then Roger's like, no, this is her. It's Rachel Menken, or it's her on behalf of her father. And it turns out that guy he was introducing himself to was the fake Jewish guy. Like, he's Jewish, but he's the guy that they brought up to pretend to be
Oh,
right.
an
Yeah,
ad man.
Was he the guy who serves coffee?
Yeah, they
Oh, really?
they actually did go just grab a Jew
I
and
never
bring him
noticed
into the
that.
office,
That's
and then
hilarious.
Roger goes, no, remember? Don't you remember?
Oh yes, one of our rising young
Lefkowitz
stars.
or whatever his name is. Yeah, our rising stars, and Don's like, oh, of course.
Yes.
It's funny.
The casual anti-Semitism like going on.
The fuck was that?
They really did like do a good job at showing like all that, but not making it too heavy. But it was it felt very it just right.
It's just dated.
Yeah, I mean, right is in the way that they portrayed it of that era, and it adds another factor to the way even our favorite characters on this kind of show are also. They have very unlikable qualities, but yet the show's written so well and the characters are just done so well that you still want to keep watching them, I find. Besides Rachel being Jewish, Don is also put off by the fact that he has to talk business with a woman, and you pointed that out, how eventually he kind of storms out. He doesn't want to she doesn't like his idea, so he storms out and says, I don't have to take this from a woman. And
oh yeah.
I think he cares about the pitch first and foremost. I mean, I'm always trying to look for reasons to defend Don, and I guess that is a pretty like sexist thing he does.
Yeah.
But I'm also wondering if it wasn't just because his feelings were hurt, and Rachel always saw Don like no other character does. Right from the get-go. Yeah. And I'm wondering if it's that he senses that she has that inside of him, plus the fact that she's anybody who like disses one of his pitches, he doesn't really care for it.
Yeah. Well, he's like averse to insubordination. It makes him crazy.
Yes.
But he has been insubordinated in meetings with men where he would never do that. I think her being a woman like probably plays a role, but I do think you're right. Like, there's something about her that he reads that she sees through him in a way that makes him uncomfortable.
Enough
more
to like
so
see
than
her
her being
again.
a woman.
Yeah. Well, I guess he's forced to see her again, but yeah.
Yeah.
So Don uses her being a woman against her being a woman. He uses that against her capability of making business decisions, and that's the way it goes. And then there's another scene not long after. Well, I guess, like, to wrap that scene up in a nutshell, they go in, try to help her for department store by giving them coupons, saying, have a coupon sale, and she says no. Dawn gets angry. She's a woman. He leaves.
Take my coupons.
Yeah, take my coupons. Why would you like my coupons?
Take my coupons.
Peggy, look at these coupons.
Peggy, look at these coupons.
Okay. Anyway, this is going great.
Yeah.
Cut out all the talk. Just put in.
I'm just like silent the whole time, and I just chime in.
Coupons.
Peggy, take a look at these coupons. They're for a department store. They have coffee. Then there's the girl from Last Man on Earth.
Kristen Shaw.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was so surprised.
She's like smoking, and she's smoking, and Kristen Shaw's so not a smoker, and it seems like so wrong in her hand, and she seems so uncomfortable with it. It's great.
Yeah, you just imagine her as one of her characters smoking.
Yeah.
Like Louise.
Well, Louise would smoke.
Louise should smoke.
Who's
or like
Louise?
it's like
from Bob's
Burgers.
Who's she doing Bob's?
Kristen Shaw plays Louise.
The little girl with the bunny ears.
Oh, okay.
Badass.
She does Mabel on Gravity Falls.
I just love Last Man on Earth. I think that show is one of the best.
I need to watch that
shows.
show. I really need to. Isn't it by the Cone High guys?
It's Will Forte. It might be those guys too.
I think they like produced it or something or wrote.
Forte's the
directed an
showrunner.
episode. Oh, Forte's the showrunner.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's his forte.
You had to, didn't you?
Yeah.
Didn't you? Didn't you?
Yeah,
You couldn't let it go.
I did it.
Fuck you.
And Kristen Shaw.
Yeah.
She also is like part of this whole mentality, sexism. You know, it's not just amongst the men; it's amongst the women too. And she's trying to tells Peggy something about, you know, you have nice legs. You should really show them because Don Draper will like that.
Yeah.
And you could see like what happens later in the episode. It's Peggy's trying to do her best. She's just a fish out of water. And she's trying to adapt.
Yeah, I feel bad for Peggy.
And
she's largely been told the same advice, so it's no wonder that she does what she does later. I mean, like 3 or 4 characters are basically saying the exact same thing to her, which is that like use your body, you're here because you're attractive, you're a mother.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Spoiled. I knew that one.
No, that's not.
I know she becomes a mom later on in the series.
Not really. Well, she does and she doesn't.
She doesn't.
Oh, she has an abortion?
No, she doesn't. Maybe you just gotta watch.
Should
the
we not?
show.
We shouldn't go there. But it's great. What
Oh,
happens.
spoiler warning, by the way. Here it is.
warning.
Here's your spoiler. Did I put? I think I put a spoiler warning in.
Here's
The
the
whole
big
thing.
spoiler. We'll have one big spoiler in this episode.
Don't give away the ending.
Of
Of the
what?
whole show?
Of the episode?
Yeah,
or the
no,
show?
because I want to guess it
Of the
later.
episode.
Well, this isn't the. This is like
Okay.
Okay.
a season 1 and 2 thing, really.
Okay.
Right.
See, Peggy, she gets pregnant from Pete, and
From
Boom.
this episode?
yes, in this episode.
Oh.
No.
Actually. Yeah, it is.
It's from this episode?
I believe so.
I thought it was from a later one.
Is there another episode where he does the same thing? Shows up at her place.
No, they bang in on. They don't bang.
Bang.
Who
Disgusting.
bangs?
On a couch in the office.
Oh, maybe that's it too.
Anyways, either way.
Anyway, either this time or the
Speed.
next time, a baby is conceived, and
Okay.
she never tells Pete. But throughout the entire season, she keeps on, like when she first shows up, she's the object of everybody's affection. She's the new girl, and all the guys are always flirting with her. And there's yeah, and then she gets fucked, and then she starts getting like putting on weight, and I think they probably like. I don't know, either like the actress either went through an amazing transformation or they put on a fat
They put on a
fat
suit.
suit. That's
Fat
what they
suit.
did for the other
For Fat
actress.
Betty?
Yeah.
Fat
So Fat Betty, yeah. But the whole season nobody thinks like maybe it's because that people weren't as quick to think that a single woman would just get pregnant, but nobody like comes right out and says, "Oh, she's pregnant."
They
She
do
just starts-
speculated about it at one point.
There's all
Yeah.
kinds of speculation why she's putting on weight, and Pete is such an asshole about it, and
Fuck
he never even considers,
Right,
he
yeah.
never even thinks that maybe I got her pregnant,
No.
but he's
Right.
one of the guys calling her fatty behind her back
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Dick.
There's
Yeah.
a really funny, the episode where the whole marketing campaign is it's for bras. It's like every woman's either a Marilyn or an Audrey.
Yes,
know?
yes.
And then I think Peggy's like, "What am I?" And I think they're like a Gertrude Stein or something.
Jesus.
They're so like to her face.
To her face, and
They're just like
Damn.
overtly so cruel about
oh,
her
it's
making.
it's cringeworthy.
But
at
she
some point.
she handles
gotta-
it like
yeah.
a champ.
like a champ.
Like a champ. Like
Yeah.
she just doesn't. Yeah, she's.
I think that's
she's got other
why
shit to worry about.
Elizabeth Moss really captured that role so well, like with humility.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, moving on with this story in the episode, or lack thereof. They have the meeting, the Roger, Pete, Dawn, who are running the Lucky Strike cigarette account,
Mm-hmm.
have a meeting with the owners of the cigarette brand, and there's a funny scene where the owner, they're talking about how they have to like come up with a unique idea because of this cancer study, which the owners do not believe. They think it's all bullshit.
Mhm.
Of course they do. And then the owner's like, I've been smoking them my whole life, and there's nothing wrong with me. And he like lights one up and starts coughing,
that's
and
nice.
then
nose falls
everyone
off.
starts
everybody
coughing.
starts coughing
Yeah.
along with it. I don't really understand,
It's
but
great.
it's great. It's hilarious.
It's
I
just make
miss
them
that.
feel at ease.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
make them
Yeah.
feel-
Like one, like Roger coughs, Dawn
Yeah.
coughs.
Just another huge lie.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
another huge lie.
Another cover up. We have this hard evidence that this shit gives you cancer. Oh my god, Yuri's glasses just broke.
Crazy ass.
And,
no.
But if we all cough, then it'll look like there's no way. If we all cough, none of us have cancer.
And then his sons were there with him, like the guy who starts coughing, his son's
Yeah.
there, and he's like, "My granddad smoked and he lived till he was 95, hit by a bus." That line.
That's great.
All right. So, anyways, Don, he's been struggling and he has nothing. He just has nothing for the pitch. And Pete tries to like, Peggy, why don't I have
Greg,
anything?
give me something for the pitch.
Peggy, coffee.
That's
I need
my
a pitch."
contribution. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
thank you, Richard.
And Pete tries. He comes up with this own pitch of his own, like
Mhm.
while Don is fumbling, and it's related to the study that Don had read that was personally given to him that
Yeah.
he threw into his personal garbage in his personal office, and somehow Pete comes up with this idea. Tries the whole death wish
Yeah.
pitch.
Well, he recites the study like verbatim. Like,
Yes.
he just says exactly what the woman says.
People want to live a dangerous life,
Yeah.
and that's why they'll keep smoking, and it fails miserably.
Right.
It fails in the exact way that Don predicted
Yeah.
it would fail because
Exactly.
Don knows what's up. If anything, he knows advertising, and he says that they're going to say, "Wait, so it's just reminding the consumer that these things want to kill you."
Mm-hmm. In that scene earlier, Sal had a funny line. He's like, maybe we should put a skull and crossbones on it, which is
Make
hilarious.
it sexier.
Yeah. And so then Don successfully pitches an
Oh,
idea.
This is the best.
Yeah, it's
I
one of the.
love it
It's
so
really
much.
one of the best scenes in the entire show. I
Yeah.
think. or at least most memorable. He pitches this idea, pointing out that every brand of cigarettes are facing like the same obstacles in the same way from this health report, leading to this very powerful moment when he explains what advertising is all about, quoting, "Our brand will take care of you, others will not." Or maybe that's not actually a quote, but that's pretty much what he says.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
He says something like, "This is the greatest opportunity in advertising
Since breakfast cereal.
Since breakfast cereal." Yeah, he realizes
it's a bold claim.
Breakfast cereal was big.
I know.
But yeah, it's amazing. They have that shot on his face where it's just like the wheels are turning.
Yeah.
That classic Don's, just something powerful is coming through Don, and we
Mhm.
realize how he knows exactly how to get them, like exactly where he wants them. And he
then
realizes,
he farts.
and then he
farts. Right
Yeah.
after all that, just
And then everyone farts to cover it up to make him look cool.
everybody farts.
And then they all start
coughing.
And
then they all light up a cigarette. Yeah.
But yeah, he realizes every tobacco company is in the same position, so they can say whatever they want. That's how he says it. He says, "We can say whatever we want," and that's when you're like, "Oh my God, John Hamm, let's fuck."
John Hamm, big
Sorry.
dick.
No, I think we all thought
Sorry.
that at the same time.
So hot. Anyways.
And it's really great scene.
And then he says, "How do you make your cigarettes?"
Oh yeah, how do you make your cigarette? Whoa, wait.
Well, we toast them.
We toast them.
And then he cuts them off. He says, "There you go, toasted."
Toasted.
And he writes it on the board. It says, "Toasted." And then they go, he goes, "That's what we say. It's toasted." And he's like, "Well, everyone toasts their cigarettes." And he goes, but they don't know that.
He's like, everybody.
Everybody's brand gives you cancer.
Yeah.
Yours are toasted.
That's right.
Like that. So good.
Yeah,
That's good.
That's great writing. I mean,
Yeah, I love that, by the way.
He did?
I love that moment.
That's
That was a great
probably
moment.
like what he spent, like Matthew Weiner spent like years just working on
That
that
one
line.
scene.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
perfect.
That was a pretty brilliant.
And
scene.
I actually wrote a Mad Men spec myself, and I found like it's fun to write these characters, but man, those business scenes are difficult to write, and that's pretty damn good. So, anyways, it goes well and successful, and Don realizes that Pete went through his office garbage to read the health report, being the cockroach that Pete often is. So, like, when Peggy, in this scene, it's just such a sad scene, like, awkward, and I feel bad for both of them, really. But, like...
but in retrospect, now that you know how everything turns out, it's, like, it's easier to watch, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I just try to think of it like how people who haven't seen this show before, it must be, like...
It's
like, I'm trying to, like, for people listening who haven't seen this show before, to not make them think they shouldn't watch this show because it's about horrible people and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, I know what you mean. Peggy comes in and she tries to, I'll say she applies herself to Don. She puts her hand on his hand, and it's hard to put into words exactly what goes down, but like it's clear that she's trying to, I don't know, come on to him in some way.
Well, they give that
in a
shot of
vulnerable
her, like,
moment.
giving him, like, a doe-eyed, like, glance up, and they have a close-up of her hand slowly slipping on his. Like, it's very clear she's making a sexual advance.
Yes, at the advice of her coworkers, and Don humiliates her for this and for allowing Pete into his office. He blames it all on her, and, it's very awkward. Yeah. But then she cries, and then he acts like the gentleman when he sees a crying woman, and, like, tells her to go home and sleep it off or something. And
put a paper bag in her head.
Go home. Peggy.
You got negative from there and think about what's your best features.
I think your accent's changing.
No, it's very sad.
Sounds like Don Draper fell on his head.
Yeah, he sounds a little delayed.
Adrian.
All right, so let's talk about Pete's bachelor party of sexism and cigarettes.
Yeah, my
woo!
favorite moment, bro.
This dingy nightclub burlesque show, and had that great line, like we said before. I love this place. It's hot, it's loud, and filled with men. And Sal goes, "I know what you mean.
I'm hard.
I'm hard." And Pete,
Did you know I was gay? I tried to do it, not tell anyone.
run with it.
No.
And Pete gets really
Yeah.
aggressive towards the one girl. Like, really
Oh
aggressive.
yeah, that
Yeah.
one girl. And he's all like being pervy. Can't keep his hands to
More
himself.
than that, yeah. Like, he's
He's
touching her.
such
Yeah,
a
yeah.
And
boy.
and it's you can feel
Yeah.
the tension escalating because
Yeah.
she very verbally says that
No,
she's,
she's
not into
having
it.
it.
Yeah.
She's not.
And he's like,
He's very uncomfortable.
even still goes further. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Pete's a rapist.
Does he rape?
Does he become a
I
rapist
think
later?
he rapes at one point, doesn't he?
Probably.
Doesn't? Yeah, seems like his MO.
Yeah. His modus operandi is just rape.
Just a rape man. Ugh.
The rape
No, he's
bastard.
definitely he's an assaulter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not a gentleman.
Not a great character. Not a nice character.
But
No.
it's not a nice character, but Laird just like the rest of them, I'd say.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, that's about all I have to say about the bachelor party. I mean, there's no drama or anything. I think it's just another example, like exposition. These characters
Right.
are capable of really horrible things sometimes.
Isn't
And
this the last scene? No, it's not.
no,
it's
no,
not.
no.
The second last scene, isn't it?
I can't remember. I think there's a bit.
Doesn't
after.
like
no, 'cause
Dawn talk to somebody?
Dawn apologizes to Rachel. over a
Rachel.
drink.
Right,
yes.
they go for a drink. Right,
And
right,
that's
Let's
another
go for a
pivotal
break.
scene.
right. What is another pivotal?
When he talks to Rachel, he's not talking to her the same way he talks to Peggy because
No.
Peggy's his secretary.
Exactly.
And Rachel and him, she's one of those characters that he shares as like something special with. Eventually, he comes to share something very special with Peggy as well.
Oh.
Not at this point, though.
Different.
Yeah.
Not romantic.
So,
Oh.
and he ends up being very curious. I guess the same way he was curious with the server in the beginning at the bar, but he's curious as to like why Rachel pursues business over marriage.
Mhm.
Like any sensible woman would just get married and not want to run a store. And her answers are what you'd expect, and like fuck off.
Mhm.
And Don admits that love is just fiction, so he starts kind of unraveling, letting his guard down.
Mhm.
And Rachel realizes that even men, but
Mad Men.
specifically madmen like Don Draper,
Right. Thank
they are also forced to portray parts in society,
Mhm.
just like women
Mm-hmm.
or minorities. And I guess the quote is, she says to him, I do know what it feels like to be out of place, to be disconnected, to see the whole world laid out in front of you the way other people live it. There is something about you, as she's talking to Dawn, that tells me you know it too. And this is exactly who Don Draper is, and Rachel sees it.
Okay, but I have an interpretation of the scene in their relationship, which is that she's just a psychologically minded person, and it wouldn't take that much to understand that after he made a speech about how love is just a marketing tool that men like him created to sell pantyhose,
Mhm.
that he's a bit of a fringe guy or character. And she picks up on that, and she uses that to her advantage to sort of like connect them more and get him on her side. And I think that he wants women to be like these. He wants like a magic woman who just gets everything about him. He never has to explain himself or answer for anything, and that he wants a woman who will just read him and get him and be fine with him. And so even though she seems to understand a bit of who he is, he like immediately projects this entire character onto her. Like she gets it. I can be who I'm. She gets exactly who I am, and then I think that's when.
Oh, you mean like she's doing that on purpose?
I don't know that she's doing it in a way that she's trying to manipulate him at all, and I don't think she realizes how much she's gotten him to latch onto her in that moment. I think she's just a little bit she's clever enough to realize what kind of guy he is, and she does want to like change the power dynamic, and she knows she can do that if she just gives a little insight into his character, that he'll take her a little more seriously.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
not
I
saying
think
it's not
so.
an honest moment, but I'm just saying
I think that those two characters, they kind of like wander out of their comfort zones and find somewhere in the middle, like that isn't like he's like pulling her away from like these in other episodes, these romantic scenes. It doesn't really feel like that's who she is.
Yeah.
And Dawn's not really that either.
You're right. She doesn't seem like she gets like more tender or
Yes,
sweeter
yes.
as the season goes
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
I think they both like. There's just something about those two that I don't know. And
They want to find the same kind of middle happiness. They want to find something together. They're looking for something.
some bullshit like that.
Some bullshit.
Yeah, that was a great scene though. And then Pete shows up drunk at Peggy's apartment.
And they fuck.
And they fuck. They don't show it. They don't often show sex on the show.
Just rape.
Or the BJ scene with Roger and Don's mother-in-law, which is really weird. That was like season 6 or 5 or something.
Sort of spoiler.
And the little girl walks in on it. But whatever.
Wow, what?
Spoilers.
This show gets fucking messed up.
It does.
It comes like Game of Thrones. I'm like, I've never seen
No.
Dragons.
There's dragons?
Yeah.
Oh.
Roger's a dragon.
Oh, knew it. Wait, is Sal? No, Sal's a dragon. He's
Roger's a Targaryen. That's why he has silver hair.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
like,
let's skip houses. Sorry.
like somebody's like, oh, you're like a fire-breathing dragon, Sal. And he's Roger, and Roger's like, no, I'm not.
Sal? Oh, yeah.
Roger, whatever.
Sal.
Whoever's
Roger
the
Sal.
dragon. Whoever's the dragon.
Yeah.
He's hiding.
Exactly.
All right.
So I was like, I don't want to see dragons naked.
And then,
He secretly does. And then Don Draper has a wife and kids. Oh, what a shock!
that's the big spoiler.
Yeah.
But I think it was really clever how they wrote that ending. Because it was
Yeah.
like leading
That
up.
was great.
And they wrote the whole character ambiguous the whole episode of
Yeah.
what his whole background was.
Ambiguous.
You
And
know.
then he comes into his nice little pretty little home, to his nice little pretty little wife.
2 children.
Two
kids.
children.
And he goes
Who don't
in.
look like his kids. Who don't look like the actress who ended
I
up
think it
playing
was
his-
the same girl.
You
actually.
do?
I think it was.
Okay.
I think I might have even looked it up on her Internet Movie Database page,
Okay.
and it was her. But the son was like changed like 5 or 6 times throughout the course of the show. And we didn't talk about Allison Brie either.
No, yeah,
She was in it?
No,
No, she's Pete's wife later on, but
They only
there's
see the
a
picture.
of her, and it looks
Oh.
nothing like Alison Brie.
because it's not.
She's not even close to as
Because she wasn't
hot
born
as
yet.
Alison Brie. Right.
It's
Exactly.
I have to say though, I wanted to say like back like when I mentioned the conversation that Pete's having with his fiance
Mhm.
over the phone and the way he just sounds like such an asshole. But his wife, up until a certain point in the show, never has any problem with the way that he treats her.
Yeah.
And it's almost like she comes from a world where she expects him to be like the way he is and to treat her the way she is. And I just thought that Alison Brie was fantastic as that kind of character.
She was
Like
perfect.
just the kind of woman that would have been.
yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
She just puts up with his lies, and also she acts in like a way that's almost like self-aware that she knows he's bullshitting her like half the time, and she's sort of bullshitting him half the time too.
Yeah, it's like this unspoken understanding.
understanding.
Yeah. And the way that last scene, just to make Don more complex, the way he actually, as bad as he is and all this stuff we've seen him do, he goes in and he sits beside his children sleeping, and you can see that he really loves his children. At least that's what it looks like. But then the camera pulls out, and it's like this perfect scene as the wife's watching him watch his children, and he loves his children. And the camera pulls out of the window of this perfect house on this perfect street, and it goes back to like the seemingly perfect life in the American dream.
Right,
like that's what that
right.
last shot was all about, right?
Yeah.
Which all actually just rests on shaky grounds ultimately. This whole American dream, because you think of that family, and that family is not an American dream.
No.
Everyone raised in this era who watches the show can probably relate to how powerful that last scene is. I would think, but I don't know.
We should get someone from that era.
Yeah, like my
like
mother,
like her mom or dad,
Like all our parents.
our parents, get them together. Well, they're all babies at that time.
my mom
my
was
Bubby would be good.
too.
Yeah. Well, maybe. So I want to do a segment where I've only seen this one episode, and I saw one other episode too. Is when like Don Draper had to do the opening pitch for like a baseball game, and he brought Peggy into his office, and he's like, because Peggy used to be like a baseball player, and he's like, "Oh, Peggy, help me with this pitch."
Which is why we're always acting so
up
intelligent. Peggy, bring me some coffee.
I thought of that halfway through, and I just couldn't. I just trying to find a way to work that in.
It needed like the 30-minute refinement theory.
Yes, I think I nailed it. I think I nailed that
No,
joke.
perfect.
But I want to, since I've only seen the one episode, I think I'm gonna predict how the ending is, because you guys have seen the ending,
Yeah,
right?
we won't say if you're right or
I
wrong.
won't say if I'm right or wrong. Just like give me hints if I'm right or not. Okay, my first theory: Don Draper dies of throat cancer,
Ugh.
and that's how it ends. All right.
That's it. That's all you have to say.
He just
He
dies.
just
No,
goes like, throat cancer!
One of my
and
theories.
drops
Throat
dead.
cancer!
That's one of my theories. One of my theories.
Oh no, it's throat cancer! Oh.
Last 5 minutes of the show.
My second theory is that Don Draper he loses his job and Peggy gets his job. And Don Draper's out in the street and he has to peggle for money and he's like, coffee.
As she's walking by.
For a coffee. And then like Peggy gives him $1 and it's like, she smiles and they give each other like a glance that they know.
And then Bob Dylan's like Rolling Stone starts
yes. Playing. And then like, yes.
Let's sing it.
Threw a bomb to the dime to the dumb in your prime. Didn't you?
Because if you fans on thought they roll.
Can you?
He used to talk about
everybody that was hanging out.
Now you don't talk so loud. Now you don't seem so proud. Now
having to be
taken from you. Everything.
How does it feel? Okay. My third theory. Peggy reveals that the last 2 seasons were actually just her writing like novels, and she's a novelist, and that Don Draper actually died like 2 years ago.
How?
He just died, and she never explained.
Okay.
And then
kind of like Roseanne.
No.
No, it's exactly like Roseanne. Actually,
yeah, it was. And then,
you were fucking with me.
Yeah, I was fucking with you.
Yeah, I was fucking with you.
And my fourth theory, it ends with like him, like Don Draper at a mountaintop, going like, meditating. Is that it?
Don't be an asshole.
What? Is that it? Is that the ending?
I mean, no.
Oh, come on. That was a joke. I was joking.
Okay. Do you know how it ends?
No, I don't.
You're lying.
Why don't I? What, did I guess right?
No.
No, you didn't.
No?
No.
Okay.
No, barely.
You should watch it.
Maybe I'll watch it. All right. So, that's it, folks. That's episode 1 of Mad Men. So it's getting in your eyes.
But then first of many.
We're going to do episode 2 next week. Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do episode 2 tomorrow.
I'm going to wake up at 4 a.m.
Episode 3 is going to be the next day. Episode 4 is going to be the day
next
after
hour.
Yeah, we're just going to keep recording until...
I wanted to sing the song, the last song they play.
What's the last song they play?
I have often walked on these streets before, but the pavement always stood beneath my feet before. Remember? I just think that's a pretty song.
Solo.
Dreamed.
How about Smoke Gets in Your Eyes?
Okay, you sing that.
It goes.
There's not enough music in any of our podcasts.
It's a very slow song. It's it's like a slow dance song. Smoke Gets in Your Eyes.
Okay.
And
sing it.
I don't actually. No, come to think of it, I'm not sure I know any of the lyrics except besides it's like.
Oh, baby.
Something.
Push
it.
Smoke
feels
in your
I
eyes.
cannot deny. Oh, like that's how he sings the whole song, and then he's like, fuck it, I can't. Smoke gets in your eyes.
I thought he was gonna give up, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Let's sing Blue Angel.
How's that go?
Blue Angel.
No, that's Earth Angel.
No, it's.
Earth
I was thinking of Blue Moons. I was thinking of Grease, and I was thinking of Back to the Future at the same time.
My darling dear, love you
Sing Angel
for
from
all
Like
time.
Let's sing.
We're not singing Blue Angel.
Let's sing Don't You.
Sing Purple Rain.
I don't know
Purple Rain.
I've never heard of that song.
Prince.
Who the fuck is Prince?
Rain, Purple Rain. Yeah, the Prince of what?
She walks with a smile on her shoes. She goes down.
How about a song that has the word mad in it?
Okay.
I'm
mad. Remember that angry gumball, the red gumball in the commercials?
No.
Or a song about man?
Mad.
Walk like a man.
Talk like a man.
Mad man,
like a
Mad man.
Bagger.
Bagger.
Get me
Beggars
coffee.
don't cry.
Baby, don't cry.
I just want to say I hate the four. Was it the four seasons?
Seasons?
I hate the Four Seasons with
Really?
every fiber of my
Really?
body. I just fucking despise them.
Why?
I just, aside from the I hate their voices.
You hate nice harmonies?
I hate their. It annoys the fuck out of me.
Really?
And also I just think they're like all their songs are fucking sexist.
Probably.
Big girls
yeah.
don't cry, walk like a man, talk like a man, setting standards of a man. Like when I think of a show like Mad Men, I think of the fucking Four Seasons.
That's true. I mean, it was maybe a little bit of a product.
There are
of
other
time,
times, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's why
you're
I hate
right.
it. That's why I hate it.
Well, the feminists, thank you.
Well, you can learn from our other podcast, Mad About Used Men. Hey, I'm mad about this is unfair. Like, ladies, they don't get the same rights. You know what I'm saying?
I love the gangster feminists. You
Yeah.
see a lot of them.
Well, it's a very niche pod. You know, they know. You listen to the podcast. It's a good one.
The gangster feminist.
All right, so follow me at Coconut Buyer on YouTube and Twitters. You can follow Laura at Twibo and her channel Lifestyle and Lifestyle.
Yeah.
And
You can follow me on the streets, either to my house or outside.
you just
of it.
did that one. Do a new one.
Oh, you can follow me.
Follow me.
All
Set me
the way
free.
down.
Trust me, we will escape from the city.
Follow me. Just follow me, folks.
Follow us.
Follow me anywhere.
Follow me, I follow you.
Follow me.
Okay, it's probably time to
Good night.